Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Brittany Myers. I'm a personal trainer. I have my degree in exercise science, and we're going to be going over how to track and weigh your food accurately. When it comes to tracking your food, weighing is the best option because if you're somebody who uses measurements such as cups, they're not as accurate because that could change day to day, meaning that the weight of the food could change day to day, so it's not going to be as accurate, it's not going to be as consistent when you're trying to track food. And accuracy matters when it comes to tracking your calories when you have very specific goals, so that's why it's best to make sure that you're weighing out your food. In order to weigh out your food, you need a food scale. You can get them on Amazon and at Walmart for relatively cheap, anywhere between $10 to $20. This one right here is from Walmart. I've had it for about 5 years and it's lasted me for that long, so that's pretty good. The buttons that we have on our food scale, we have the on and the tare button. We also have the hold and the unit of measurement. The tare button just means that we're zeroing out something. So if we want to measure out a new food in the bowl that we have already, we can just hit the tare button and it'll zero it out. The unit of measurement is usually in grams or ounces. That depends on your personal preference, but also maybe the nutrition label of whatever food you're weighing. And then the hold button is there in case we want to move the plate off for some reason, but we don't want the measurement to change or we don't want it to zero out or get messed up. The hold can be a nice option for that. So that's how you use a food scale. Next comes the question of when should I weigh my food? And you should always weigh your food before you cook it. The reason that I say that is because the nutrition labels are there based on the current state that the food is in. So if you're getting raw chicken, the calories and the macros are based off of its current uncooked state. Same thing for rice, noodles, etc., etc. So it's best to weigh it out before. I realize this is not always realistic to most people, so as a general rule for meat loses about 25% of its weight after it's cooked. So a really great way to make sure that you're accurately tracking how much you're eating is you can use a couple of conversion factors that I'm going to show you here. So the way that you can do this is you can use these conversion factors. So if we're going to raw weight to cooked weight, you can take the weight raw and multiply it by 0.75 because remember we're losing 25% of the mass. Or we can go from cooked to raw weight by taking the weight divided by 0.75. This is typically the conversion that I use when it comes to tracking my meat accurately, so this is really good to know. Another thing to keep in mind is that rice and noodles take on weight after they are cooked. So they typically tend to take on 2 to 3 times their weight. Rice tends to lean more towards the 3 times its weight after it's cooked. So I'm going to show you a way that you can figure out your factor for how much your rice or noodles increased based on the brand that you're using. I'm somebody who likes to use the same brands over and over simply for tracking because it makes it super easy to use, so I would suggest you doing the same thing. We're going to be using the long grain enriched rice from Great Value for this example. This is what the nutrition label looks like. We have 45 grams of uncooked rice is a serving size or a quarter of a cup for 160 calories. I did my own little experiment to see how much the rice increases by what factor, and I measured out a cup of rice, I weighed it out, and I got 180 grams, and after I cooked it, I got 503 grams. So to figure out what the factor is of the increase, I took 503 and I divided it by 180, and that got me 2.7, meaning that the rice increases in size by a factor of 2.7. Now remember that the serving size was 45 grams uncooked. So what we can do from there is take 45 grams and then we multiply it by 2.7, and that gives us about 121.5. But to make it easy, we're gonna round up, always round up. 122 grams cooked is now my serving size for that rice. Now let's say I wanna track the rice that I'm having, but I'm having 150 grams of the cooked rice in a sitting. The way that I'm going to track it accurately and determine how many servings that I'm having is I'm going to take 150 and then I'm just going to divide it by the 122. And that should give me about 1.2 servings. So when I'm tracking in whatever app or method that I'm using to track my food, I'm gonna be making sure that I'm saying I'm having 1.2 servings. Some tips to help you be the most successful when it comes to tracking your food is to make sure that you're searching by the brand and you're also comparing the nutrition label to what is within the app or the method that you're using to track, making sure that the calories and the macros all line up and are accurate together. Sometimes they're not, so maybe you need to search for a different option, so make sure they're matching just for accuracy. If you are someone somebody who has never tracked before and this is new to you, you need to be planning your days out ahead of time so that you can input your food early, see where you sit with your calories and your macros, and then you can follow that like a meal plan throughout the day. If you're just trying to meet your macros throughout the day without a plan, you're going to fumble and you're not going to be as successful with it because this is something new to you. The best way to make sure that you're eating enough of the portion sizes that you need is to plan ahead. So really, really, really plan ahead. Something I would suggest if you're using MyFitnessPal and what I have my clients do is when it comes to determining how many calories to input into the app, I have them put 0 and I also put 0 for myself just for ease of use, because then you don't have to figure out the exact percentages of macros when somebody gives them to you like a coach. You can just build up your calories and your macros for the day. I would also suggest that you completely disregard what MyFitnessPal says for the exercise calories to add back in. It's not accurate, it's not necessary, you can ignore those. And when it comes to tracking food and calories, give yourself a range of calories and macros to be within instead of being super hard on yourself if you don't get exactly 125 grams of protein. Give yourself the leeway to have either 120 up to 130 grams so that you have some wiggle room and that you're still meeting your goals. If you're somebody who gets really number obsessed, maybe tracking macros or calories is not for you. You're still getting to your goals, you're still meeting the calories, you're still within what the goal is for your calorie intake. It doesn't have to be perfect, it just needs to be consistent and close enough, and then you'll be good to go. If you found this video helpful, if you have any other questions on tracking food or weighing out food, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.